Hi pals! As you watch me use Procreate to select the colours for my painting in the most arduous way possible, I decided to use the Procreate pencil to colour the entire thing in hatching, I'm not sure why. Anyway, as you watch me do this, I have a confession to make. I know that I said in the Wednesday video that this was going to be a kind of spooky pinup, but as it turns out, I didn't end up going down that route. I drafted the sketch and I liked it how it was, and I didn't want to change it into something spooky. But it did give me the idea for a kind of Inktober, Drawtober, whatever you want to call it this year, series, which will remain a secret until next week's video, so that's your incentive to come back next Sunday. Hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications when I upload. Thanks. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, hi. So, I've solved my shaky camera issue. What I have not solved is the noise issue thanks for illustrating that. Thank you. So yeah, I haven't solved my noise issue, which means that I am going to continue to do like over voice videos for now until, I don't know, maybe I'll throw in bonus videos like I did last week with just like normal talking. If that's something you prefer, I'd love to hear about it, but for now I will probably just stick with over voices with the occasional introduction like this. This is the Sunday video that leads on from the middle of the week video that I did on Wednesday, and this is the video where I picked from these sketches to make a final piece. And I pretty much alluded to the fact that I was going to choose this lady here because I thought that she turned out the best, but as you might have already noticed from the Procreate video that I popped into the introduction of this video, I actually went with this chick down here. I did adjust her pose a little bit. I lengthened her in order to have her fit better on a landscape 5x7, but yeah, I chose her. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. So here she is, and I just wanted to show you quickly before I get into all of that how I tape down my paintings so that the sides of, or the edges of the paper don't get ripped up, because that does happen a lot, and a lot of artists will tell you to take your masking tape, unroll it, and stick it down on your clothes or something else that has lint on it so that the extra stick of it won't peel up the paper. However, when I do that, it gets a lot of cat hair on it and people hair on it because I molt almost as much as my two cats do, and that's not appealing to me. So instead what I do is I measure out how much I'm going to need, and then I put it on my forearm. I stick it down, press it down, and then I peel it up, put it down again, and you can see it's already losing stick, and then I peel it up again. And so what this does, it just basically uses the oils of your skin to take away too much of the stickiness. However, it still sticks down, like so. You'll find a little bit of lifting, you might have to press it down every so often, but it does help because when you stick it to the side of your painting, it will stick on, but when you peel it up, it's not as stuck as it needs to be to rip up the paper. So that's what I do, and from here I'm going to jump into voiceover and painting, so hopefully you enjoy. Oh, and please remember to follow me on my social medias, they're linked in the description down below, and if you could subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications when I upload, that would be awesome as well. Thanks so much! So as I said in the Wednesday video, this is a painting that I'm doing for my dad, which again is another belated present. This one was for Father's Day. I did another painting that you can find on my Instagram for him because he likes pinup poses or pinup girls, and last year I did a pinup mermaid for him. So if you wanted to have a look at that, I have linked it down below if you're interested, and it kind of shows my progression a little bit so you can see how far I've come in a year if that's interesting to you at all. So anyway, I'm just laying down my first wash of flat colours here, and I was going for a sort of watermelon kind of colour scheme. I like to limit my colour palettes, and so I like to have an idea of what I want to go for, and then as you saw, I like to use Procreate to select colours. I don't do that all the time, but I have gotten into the habit of it because I do find that it ends up making for a nicer finished product. Also in the Procreate version, I did not have polka dots on her shoes, but I thought that it might be a nice touch to tie the painting together and make her outfit more cohesive. So for the skin tone, I had this idea of what I wanted to do, and like I said in one of my previous videos where I painted on 2 different types of paper for a comparison, I actually don't really know how to mix skin tones. It's not really in my wheelhouse just yet, and I'm using a palette, Regina's Watercolors, that doesn't have a particular skin tone, at least not for fair skin. And so I had to figure out how to mix the color that I wanted, and in real life, rather than on camera, this looked a lot more yellow when I was painting it, but I decided to just go with it and see how it went, and I figured if it doesn't look nice, I can layer it and it would still be a nice undertone. And then I'm going back through after the first layer to have some colour variation throughout the skin. So as you can see here, I'm putting some blush on the knees, and then I'm using the wash and pull technique that I mentioned also in my paper comparison video to blend that out. You have to be careful when you're doing this technique in layers because it can disrupt the layer underneath, so making sure the layer that you're painting onto is completely dry is really helpful, and trying not to scrub the paper too much because, as you'll see in a minute, you can scrub the paper for watercolour to pull up the pigment and remove it if you want to either lighten something or clean up the edges. I guess I also just wanted to take a minute here because there are a couple of layers on the skin, so I have some time to sort of talk about my dad, and this is meant to be a Father's Day present, so if you're watching this, Dad, hi, love you, hope you like your present. I will send it in the mail, and hopefully it'll get to you not broken or bent or ruined. I do plan to put it in a frame, so hopefully it's not shattered, but yeah. There are some very specific experiences that I shared with my dad that I think about every time I think about him or every time I think about my childhood, and I've mentioned it before in my videos that my dad used to read Harry Potter to me every night, and I learned to read because he would read on a little bit without me, and I was upset that he knew more than I did, so that's why I wanted to learn how to read. Here you can see me pulling up the colour by laying down a wash of water and then scrubbing my brush on the paper, and then I leave it for a second and then I go back to it and try and lift it again. I do this a couple of times throughout the painting, just trying to lift it because I thought that the legs looked a little bit darker than the rest of the body and it wasn't working, and I didn't want to darken the other bits of the skin because they were a colour that I liked and wanted to keep. Something that I also think of every time I think about my dad is fairies, which might sound like a strange association, but the reason that I think of fairies when I think of my dad is because I used to have this colouring book. In fact, I still have it, I kept it. This colouring book has all different kinds of fairies in it. It's like a typical kids book. It has the letters of the alphabet intermingled with just pictures of fairies doing fairy things, and I sucked at colouring when I was a kid. Like, you would not have expected me to turn out to be an artist if you saw some of the things that were in this colouring book. My dad used to colour with me and give me ideas and show me how to colour in the lines, and he would colour in pages for me because I wanted him to, and I was needy, and I asked him to do it. And I think I had 2 copies of this book because the one that I still have today doesn't seem to have any of the ones that he coloured in for me, but it still kind of holds the same memory. really want to work on my line art because although I feel that I am generally pretty stable with it, I manage to keep my hand steady, I still seem to have some variation in line weight that I'm not intending to have, which can be great for a painting, but only when you're intending it. So as you can see, as I move on from the calf here down to the thigh, I messed up a little bit and there's like a chunky bit and I don't like it, but I tried to fix it up and I think it's okay. But yeah, that's something that I definitely want to work on going forward. And the last memory that I wanted to talk about is Need for Speed Underground 2. When I was a young teenager, I used to play Need for Speed Underground 2 with my dad all the time. Me and him, and sometimes also my brother, would stay up really late playing Need for Speed Underground 2, sometimes even on a school night, mostly because dad had forgotten it was a school night and we managed to keep quiet about it and just stay up playing Need for Speed Underground 2 till the early hours of the morning. And in that game was when I decided that I wanted a Nissan Skyline for my first and dream car. Didn't end up happening. I ummed and ahed about using a Posca pen on this painting to outline the character and to put those little lines in that I had put in the Procreate color selection sketch, but I decided against it. I thought that the painting was okay as it was, and because I'd already put the line art down and I wasn't sure how the Posca pen would interact with the line art, I didn't want to risk it and risk ruining the painting. So I just used my Signo Uniball white gel pen to add in some details. Then I'm peeling up the tape and the paper isn't ripping, so my method worked. And then there we have it. That is my piece that I'm going to send to my dad. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to follow me on my socials, subscribe, press the bell button notification, and like the video if you liked it. I'll be back next week. Hopefully I see you then. Bye. Oh, and please ignore my messed up couch in the outro. The cats do have lots of scratchy posts, but they prefer furniture, so